All right, this beautiful Thursday but chilly morning, we bring to you a very pertinent conversation largely centered around World Autism Awareness Month. Yes, we'd like to talk about this condition. Every April, the world celebrates World Autism Month. Yes, beginning with the United Nations sanctioned World Autism Awareness Day that is on April 2nd. Throughout the month, we focus on sharing stories and providing opportunities to increase understanding and acceptance of people with autism, fostering worldwide support. To help us understand this and more, we are joined by Susan Gakwavu. She is the founder of New Life Autism Foundation, and she joins me right now on set. Very good morning.
Good morning.
Susan would like to know, first of all, tell us about autism. What is it?
Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, it's a developmental disability that affects our children, verbal and non-verbal, and also their social interactions. Yes. I
see. So what happens? How is it diagnosed?
Usually there's no specific tool to diagnose them, but as they grow up, you know, they have challenges in speaking, delay in speech, and also kind of shy. And that's when parents start to think probably my child has a problem. And then, you know, with checkups and all that, they conclude probably at 1 year or 2 years old. 1 year or 2 years? Yes.
And tell us about your experience working with children who are autistic in that case.
Yeah, I've been working with them probably now this is the 8th year. In California, yes.
All right.
And, you know, growing up, I had a sister who struggled with that kind of, you know, disease, but of course we didn't know what it was. But, you know, when I got into the US and started working with them, I realized that, you know, she had autism. And, you know, it's a challenge, especially to parents, but also working with them, it's a privilege because, you know, you look at these children who can't talk properly, but again, very understanding, very intelligent, and it's, you know, it's a little fun, I would say, because you're there to make a difference, and you're there to see that you can help them to advance. Yes.
Does the environment they live in have an effect on their livelihoods? You told us you've been working within California, so we want you to draw some variables. Autistic children within California, how do they respond to treatment? And autistic children in Uganda, does the environment actually come into play when it comes to their treatment?
Yes, very important. The environment and the resources, definitely in California or in America or Europe, we have so many resources when it comes to those children. And they're so comfortable. You know, we have special needs schools, we have special needs teachers, and it has really helped them to, you know, feel in the society, and also compared to autism in Africa. And, you know, as I started New Life Foundation, you know, it was my goal to do what I do over there to children in Africa. And, you know, with resources and awareness, I think we can do better also.
Okay, what is the situation in Uganda right now?
The situation, I wouldn't say that
when it comes
to
resources, yes.
Yes, I wouldn't say that it's good. It's not good at all. And that's why every time we get the opportunity to speak about it, the awareness, you know, we go for it.
Okay, speak about the insufficiencies. What are they?
Definitely. First of all, we have no policy.
Right.
So if we have no policy, it's so hard to even know what we are.
Yes.
You know, we can't even if we have so many organizations and kind of schools, but not particularly special needs schools. But, you know, it's a challenge to identify these children with no tools, with no resources, and of course, you know, a policy. Yeah, so that's one of the challenges we have in Africa or
policies.
Uganda.
What about resources, money, funding from government to actually help parents and also organizations or CSOs who have undertaken that obligation of taking care of autistic children? Is there enough money being rendered to your organizations?
You know what? There is no money. Like I said, there is no policy. So how can an organization work without a policy in the government? And actually,
so you're on your own?
Yes, we are on our own. But last year we had you know, New Life Foundation petitioned the Parliament, and we had a chance to speak with the Speaker of the Parliament, different organizations, you know, parents, teachers, you know, and the children. And we are pushing for that policy. And also there is also a Department of Special Needs Children in KCCA. They are really working so hard. They have got an assessment center and actually also an assessment tool that is going to help these children. And if this tool is put in every school, it's going to help, you know, the children, the teachers. You know, we can train teachers in every school so that they can identify those children and they can stay in the same school with the special needs teachers.
I've seen young children grapple with autism, and I could really see that they challenges were really rife at that young age. But then when you grow up, when you become older and you're dealing with autism, the situation becomes even more callous. You cannot, you're not employable. People look at you and they're like, okay, he's disabled, she is disabled, we cannot employ her. So what are some of those challenges grown-up people with autism face on a daily?
And you know, to add on that, and that's what, you know, I work with young adults, that is from 18 and above. And I've seen a lot of challenge, you know, with them compared to young kids. And, you know, growing up, like we said, United States has enough resources to cover, you know, those children. At the age of 18, those who can go into group homes. And those group homes has, you know, coaches, therapists, and, you know, who comes in and help those children. And they have coaches who actually take care of them at a daily basis.
What about the identification of particular skills? Because I do know autistic children have particular skills. One skill with that a child is having, another might not be having, but they have those particular skills, either numbers, either literature, something. So tell me, how do they cultivate those skills in these homes in the US?
Of course, as they grow up, you identify every skill of each individual.
Okay, John is good at numbers.
Exactly. Mark is good on computers.
Coding.
Jane is good with music, and some do also swim. So it's fun when we actually identify each skill. It becomes so easy, and you can develop that skill into you know, a better skill, and they can even end up using that skill in the society. And we also do, you know, coach them. There are some who are really high functioning, and then, you know, they can be able to talk, communicate, although they're not really mentally stable.
And those who can't talk are good writers. That's what I do know.
Exactly. And also, you know, they're very good at the computer when you get into computer and art. So we help those one identify what they like to do. Some, you know, like my organization has like 5 of them working. So we accompany them to different, you know, places where they work, and they really do a good job. They get a salary at the end of the month. So, you know,
I remember during the Donald Trump administration, it was very hard for someone who is autistic to actually get a job during that administration. They were always critical. Okay, are you autistic? Are you a liberal? That would also come into play. But then Joe Biden comes around. The liberals were also welcoming. They were like, if you're autistic, you can actually be helped to get into the job market. Autistic people are now in companies. They're working in these coding companies.
And that's what we want to, you know, bring in Africa.
Is it possible? Is it feasible to bring it in Africa?
Definitely. You know, it's very possible, because it's not so hard. It's like going out to study, you know, and you bring your skills to your company.
But in the absence of the structures that would have helped the caregivers like yourself to help these children, how will you be able to do it?
Exactly. Like, you know, New Life Foundation right now, we are closed, you know, but before...
You are closed?
Yeah, New Life,
Why?
Because of pandemic.
All right.
But even we closed before pandemic, but, you know, of course, pandemic kicked in, and then we couldn't do it. But again, we kept supporting these children in their homes. But this particular place, New Life Foundation, you know, the organization was really into that, you know, exercising, taking them out for a walk. And, you know, the dream of New Life Foundation is to have Autism Center Uganda. Not just, you know, children in organization, but across the country. And, you know,
if you're autistic and you need help, New Life Foundation.
New Life Foundation and other organizations around. But we are trying to come together, you know, as a country, because
to be the champion of this cause.
The champion of Autism Uganda. We had the first African conference on autism in Nairobi in 2019, and we're over 23 countries. It was amazing to see that Africa is rising up on autism, because it seems that it has been ignored for so many years. But now that we're coming together, we are seeing a big difference.
Is it the fact that they've decided to ignore it, or is it ignorance on the part of the leaders? Why have leaders or political leaders in that regard been unable to actually take autism as a serious condition? Why have they failed to expedite policies in that regard, help children who are autistic? Why don't they take it seriously, in a nutshell?
Yeah, I would say, you know, ignorance also, or not having, you know, enough knowledge about it.
All right.
And that's what we are pushing, the policy. Once the policy is there, then we can, you know, do much. Yes.
Go ahead. What kind of help do you need from government?
Number one, Minister of Education to get involved, you know, put up the policy, and also the bring in some specialists, you know, in autism. And also, you know, when we have a policy, okay, it's so easy even for us to bring in some volunteers and specialists, because now we have a system or a structure that governs the Autism Uganda. But right now, we can't do it. We can't invite Autism Speaks. And these are big organizations in the United States that are willing to come and add value on autism society.
And of course, you did give me involvement that right here on the show. You told me that you were closed before the pandemic, and right now you're still closed. So what precipitated the closure before the pandemic? Because we do know largely COVID-19 is the reason many people are not open.
Yeah, because we don't have a stable place.
All right.
So we got into some problems. You know, they wanted the place, they wanted, you know, you know, a lot of things that made us close and looking into getting another place. But then in that process, that's when the pandemic came in. But we are soon getting into a new place and then continue with our services.
So right now you're still closed. What happens to the children with whom you are taking care of?
That's what I said. We took them back to their homes, and we're taking care of them there.
From their particular homes?
Their homes.
So let's talk about the challenges of the caregivers. Yes, on that note, the parents. What are some of the challenges they grapple with on a daily basis?
Yes, right now, actually, it's a very, very big challenge, because I get phone calls from parents, you know, and when I look at the pictures of those children, totally different from the way they were.
Wow.
And, you know, there is also the stigma. You know, we talk about the stigma, because it's also affecting a lot of parents, you know, when it comes to autism. But let me say there is a child who can sleep in the night. And we had put them in that environment where they feel, you know, comfortable and free to, you know, with other children with the same disability. But now they're going back home in that environment, you know, different from where they were. And, you know, what I've heard from parents is they're awake the whole night. So, and when they're awake the whole night, it also contributes to their mental, you know, growth and, you know, lagging behind on certain issues.
And also feelings of anger. Have you noticed any kind of violence meted out on these young children as a result of anger and impatience coming in from the caregivers? Many of them are impatient.
Yeah.
And what I was hearing from especially the Donor Foundation when we were interacting with one of the two autistic children, they told me you have to really be patient with these children.
Very much so.
Very, very patient.
Very patient.
So have you noticed any uptick in violence against these children?
Very much so. You know, a lot of them are, you know, have behaviors.
Wow.
And those behaviors include being angered. They can even hit. And some of them also have seizures. But of course, seizures doesn't bring in the anger. But of course, frustration, especially when they can't communicate. You know, they get frustrated. And then, you know, the caregiver has to really, they have to be very patient when it comes to those children, and also have the love of what you do.
So do you have any studies on violence from the caregiver onto the children?
Not as many here, But in the United States, yes.
It is happening.
Very much so.
Tell me.
And it's really, talking about some of the clients, they can really be violent. And
what precipitates the violence? What causes it?
Again, anger, frustration. Some of them, they can't communicate. They're nonverbal. And they're going to end up getting frustrated because the coach or the caregiver doesn't communicate well. So that's why we need to train the caregivers too.
The parents also.
The parents also, yes. But of course the parents know. But they get to an extent of they can't do much. They can't do much and they end up also frustrated. And that's when the caregivers, come in and, help. And, that's why we need training.
Indeed. Let's talk about autistic children and education in Uganda. What is the situation now? Do you feel like autistic children are in the school setting?
Of course, no. And that's what I've been saying over and over. Policy. But with this tool now...
Does it need policy for special needs children to be enrolled in a school?
Yeah, because if we have policy, then they're recognized. So they're enrolled in those schools, and then we can train teachers to become special needs teachers. And then, put those tools into every school so that they can use it to identify those children. But without the policy, then how can you do that?
So meaning we have autistic children who are not in a school setting simply because of this policy?
Of course, yes. Policy, but also not having enough resources, like money. And then they are not really identified school, special needs, per se. But some parents do take their children into private school.
I remember there was one at Shimoni Demonstration Primary School back in the day before it was removed, but since then I haven't seen it. They used to call it the unit, and we would have cases whereby the able-bodied children would make fun of the autistic children. Is that another challenge, the stigma even in the school setting? Is it still prevalent? Yes,
especially here, when it comes to probably bullying in America, it's very, they are on it very much. So here, and they can just laugh at a child without knowing, just make fun of, because, I see her or him different from me. And then there is no special restriction or knowledge about how to handle those children. So they'll end up, laughing at each other or at those children. And then what? It's just there. But these are the things we want to bring in the
mindset
society.
Change.
Yes, mindset of these children and who they are and how special they are. Because with those skills, they're good people. And how can we work together, with the government and other organizations to bring out those skills? How can we, work together with parents to bring out the awareness and, that talk about the stigma, I feel the parents, make the parents feel better and also make the parents accept those children because it's very...
Acceptance is key.
Yes, acceptance is very, very important. And they can't accept without help of people like me who keeps on going and talking about autism. And school, definitely. If I'm a child, if I'm a parent and I have a child, who is autistic, and I know there is a school, that is going to be a relief on my side because I know I'm going to take this child to this kind of school and then things are going to be better. But, keeping these children at home, it's also another challenge.
We've also had here on NTV Uganda that some families are discriminating against children who are autistic when it comes to education or health or just any service at home. They will actually be the last to be taken care of. When it comes to food, when it comes to education, who has to go to school first, it will be the able-bodied ones. The autistic child will come last, supposing school fees is still there. This discrimination, do you think we need to expedite a process of mindset change on the parents themselves?
Absolutely, because look, suppose you have 5 children and 1 or 2 are autistic and others are okay. What are you going to do in your position? You're going to take these children to school and the reason actually is because you don't have where to take them. But if you had a special needs school, then you take these children into a normal school and then these other children to a special needs school. But because there is no that, system, it keeps the parents wondering. And what they have to do is to keep the kids at home.
All right, Susan Gakwavo, she is the founder of New Life Autism Foundation. Let's talk about some recommendations. Okay, in the absence of a policy, what can parents and caregivers do to actually render services to autistic children in terms of health, education, and so forth?
That's what we do, New Life Foundation.
Nice.
Yes, that's what we do, and other organizations.
Donor Foundation, yes.
Donor Foundation, a lot of them. And we have also those groups of parents. You know, they gather knowledge, they encourage each other, and they have different programs, different conferences on autism. I mean, it's what we do that makes a big difference. But right now, I think it's better that we come together as a country, and also Minister of Education get involved, because we can't really do much.
One of the recommendations, Susan, should we be setting up a special needs classroom in every of the schools in this country? Each secondary school, each primary school, each university should be having a special classroom or classroom blocks for autistic children. Special needs.
Yes, 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 if we can. And it's a process. We should. Yes. Yeah, it's a process, and we should actually not give up. You know, like for me, I'm still pushing, and I'm not giving up.
Giving up means we've started, but they've not even largely expedited the policy.
Exactly.
So they are still sleeping.
They're still there, you know, sleeping, and probably. And I heard that there is a debate on it, and that was really, you know, when I heard about that, I'm like, okay, that's good. Once they're debating on it, then there is hope that, you know what, they're looking into that policy, they're looking into recognizing these children. And like you said, let us have schools of special needs children, because, you know, we are capable. Yeah.
All right, besides setting up a classroom block in every school setting to ensure that special needs children have somewhere to go and learn, what else do you think could be a resolution to help autistic children as a whole?
Programs like New Life, yes,
right.
New Life Foundation. Because when right now we have such programs, that's where we're keeping those children. And it's a big relief to parents, knowing that, you know what, my son, my daughter is in a safe place. My son, my daughter is being taken care of. And, you know, when we start from where we are, when they become young adults, then we know that, you know, from here we are taking them to this place. We can also come up with those group homes where we can keep them. We can just put up, you know, homes for them. Like I said, we are capable, but we're just learning the mindset.
All right, we talked about what people like yourself, New Life Foundation, could do, Donor Foundation, the government. But what about the citizens who are watching Morning at NTV this beautiful but yet chilly morning? What can they do to offer some help to autistic children?
You know, a good question. I always encourage my fellow mothers, especially mothers, because it takes a village to raise children.
Indeed.
Right?
Happened to me.
Yeah, and I told some friends I've met, I said, listen, you can do something. You know, I would say this, and we're talking about mindset. Africans would think that white people should give us funds to do all these kind of things. But yet we are capable again. You know, we are capable of giving back to our community. And this is something we are lacking as Africans, you know, giving back to the community. Giving back, you know, I'll emphasize on giving back. Because it's what you have that will make you to give back. It's what you see or what you've been through will make you, you know, think about some other people, you know, who are not privileged like you. And for me, I'm pushing, and very soon we are going to do a global fundraising towards this. And I would encourage...
would love to be part of it.
Please, please. And I will encourage parents out there, when we call upon you, just come in, because these are Ugandan citizens, not America, not Europe, our children, our sisters' children. So let us come together and let us, you know, give back to the community. There's so many ways to give back. You know, there's so many ways, even if you don't have an organization, but you can afford to give clothes. You can afford to give donations, 50,000, 10,000, whatever you have. And we can make, you know, this country a better place for these children.
Susan Gakwavu, should we only be talking about Autism Awareness Month only in April, or should it be a continued awareness campaign that never falters?
Okay, that's a month for autism, but for us, we continue to do what we do. You know,
what will it take?
Yes, you know, be the voice, bring out the awareness everywhere. East Africa, we are one community, and we need to push each other when it comes to, you know, children of Africa.
Susan Gakwavu, very enlightening conversation. She is the founder of New Life Foundation right here in Uganda. It's largely focusing on helping autistic children actually alleviate some of the challenges they grapple with because of this condition. Susan Gakwavu, wish you all the best in your future endeavors as you fight to help autistic children. You're doing some great work.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we would like to bring to the attention of our leaders, yes, who are watching Morning at NTV at this opportune moment, please do more to expedite a policy that will help special needs children. That policy will go a long way in alleviating some of the challenges that they grapple with on a daily basis. We would never bring a conversation to you that isn't helpful. That's Morning at NTV. Let's take a breather. We'll be right back.